And bringing the conversation back to the studio, Michal, the committee usually talks about terror, about Hamas tunnels, about different military technologies. Is BDS becoming one of the top concerns for Israel and the government?
I don't know if top concerns, but I think it's certainly a very central concern, and it should be, because we have a movement here, a civil society movement, that's trying to bite into Israel's legitimacy in the international arena. So we're not talking missiles and hard power. This is essentially a very important soft power element, which in today's world, with the changes in the global diplomacy and the rising importance of public opinion, international public opinion, is very central, and it needs to be countered by Israel proactively.
Which it is, and I want to bring into the conversation Philippe Assoulin from the Israel Project, also at UCLA, CEO of Anti-BDS Hotline, Levaolam. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening for me, good morning for you. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So there's a fine line between anti-Semitism and the anti-Israel sentiment. We know that the Israeli Foreign Affairs Committee is speaking today in order to discuss exactly this, and Jewish students who are being targeted because of the BDS. Tell us about the challenges that you face in this respect.
To be completely honest, I think a big part of the challenge is that the government of Israel and a large part of the Jewish community is just starting to wake up to the problem. BDS is a name that's been given to a phenomenon that's existed for at least 30 years of systematically mass-producing hostility to Israel on campuses. There are organizations such as the one I work for that I think have a very good understanding of the problem, and we're starting to really operate in different and new ways. But for me, the biggest challenge has been trying to get the Jewish community and certain leaders in Israel to pay attention. And I think that's changed, thankfully. I think the people who are leading Erdan's ministry are very much focused, finally.
And how would you say BDS is most exercised and felt on campuses?
The campus is just the medium for them to get their message out. The real problem is in terms of public opinion and public opinion of the next generation of liberals and progressives, On campus, it creates an atmosphere where Jewish students basically have to choose between being proud of who they are as Jews or fitting in. And most will choose fitting in that situation.
Philippe Assoulin, an international relations expert at UCLA. Thank you very much for weighing in. And Michal, taking a step back and looking at the BDS movement as a whole, because today it's common knowledge, what are the roots of this movement and who are the organizations behind it, in fact?
Well, it's a question of questions. We don't really know who the organizations that are, or who it's funded by. There's a lot of different speculations, and we do know that there are over 170 pro-Palestinian organizations that signed up to the initial call in 2005. But since 2005, this movement, it's not even one organization, it's a global movement, has evolved, and it takes different forms in different countries. BDS in South Africa is not BDS in the UK, which is not BDS in the US. So it's a very widespread and different phenomena.
Absolutely, and we spoke earlier to Member of Parliament Sharon Haskel. We know the Israeli government has allocated many funds in order to fight this phenomena, which, as you say, we're not even sure who is behind it. Embassies, Israeli embassies across the world have a separate budget for BDS. Do we know of results in this manner? Do we know if the ideology is being affected or if more and more people are actually buying in to the ideology driving the BDS movement?
Look, this is something that has to be assessed over a period of many years. It's not something that we will be able to assess immediately. We can measure successes, short-term successes, legal successes, and so forth. But this is something that is an ideology. They're going forward 5, 10, 15 years. And this is why here in Israel, we also have to get into the mind frame of thinking long-term, not only looking at short-term successes, but dealing with the ideology, looking at Israel in the long term. Where are we going? Where are our policies taking us? And how do we deal with international public opinion that BDS is trying to turn against Israel. It's something that is very complicated, intricate, and the manner in which to deal with it is multifaceted. You can't have, we're seeing now the issue of deporting specific activists. This is something that has to be taken into account into a much larger strategic mind frame.
Right, legal means, but also public opinion means. I also want to bring into the conversation someone who has taken the fight against BDS to a whole new level, Nati Rom from Lev HaOlam. Tell us about this new hotline that you have activated recently.
Yes, we in Lev HaOlam, we open a BDS monitor. It's a call center that people can call, give us some photos and some details about the BDS provocateurs who are coming to Israel to harm us. And then we give all the details to the authorities. Indeed.
Now, you also have civil legal approaches to combat BDS. Can you tell us more about this? We mentioned here in studio the deportation of a Swiss activist recently after having legal measures taken against him, taking different complaints to the police and having legal action taken by the state.
Right. We in Lev HaOlam in the last 3 years, we don't leave the international arena to the BDS activists. We go every month to other places in the world to be there and to give a counterattack to the BDS movement. And now with the call center, we are reacting to the call of the Minister Ardan to do whatever we can to locate and to find those BDS people who are coming in a tourist visa to Israel, but they are actually they don't come to tourist Israel. They are coming to harm us, and we need to find them and to report about them and eventually to deport them.
Nati Rom, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning. Michal Hatuel, thank you very much for weighing in here on the BDS movement. As we know, later today the committee
If I could just say one more word, very briefly, we have to be very careful that the strategy of deporting people does not do more harm to Israel than it does in deterring people to actually take part in BDS.
Thank you very much. Now, coming up